Hi, my name is Andrew James. I'm a middle school math teacher, and I have been for 7 years, and I'm here to discuss active learning in the mathematics classroom. Active learning is important for students because we want them to participate in class and take responsibility for their own learning. So we're going to discuss strategies for the active learning in the class. To begin with, we're going to start with Think, Pair, Share. Think, Pair, Share is where you give a task to an individual student, then you let them work through it, and then you give it to a pair of students or a very small group, and then afterwards you share the results with the rest of the class, and you compare results and talk about what strategies were learned and used in the activity. This will help students become more engaged in the material. Next, we're going to talk about a generation. A generation is when you give a problem to students that they don't know how to solve necessarily, so they can use their own methods. You can do this different ways. You can give homework, and you can have students work through the homework and go over the problem the next day and talk about how you want them to solve it in the future or one prescriptive way to solve it. You could also do it in class as an activity. You could do Think, Pair, Share with that. So a generation helps students think, and it might help them remember in the future maybe a better way to solve it or the teacher's way to solve it. Next, we're going to talk about a flipped classroom. A flipped classroom is where the class isn't necessarily like the same old class over and over, where you take notes, give examples, do your homework. So this is where you give the homework as maybe notes, and then in class you're working on an activity or a bunch of problems with the teacher. So the teacher's walking around and more facilitating than teaching. So you can do Think, Pair, Share activities or other activities in the classroom as part of this flipped classroom. This helps students take some more responsibility for their learning as well. Inquiry-based learning or discovery learning is where students discover how to solve a problem by giving, something more complex. So you could do Think, Pair, Share, and you could do that with a more complex problem. And what they're doing is they're discovering how to solve the problem without the help of the teacher necessarily. So you're helping them discover new concepts through this group work. Students also have to come to an agreement on the solution. So if they don't know the answer and they can't come to an agreement, then it's your job as a teacher to make a strategy and adjust. So kids know what to do. The last and probably the most important thing to do is to give frequent checks for understanding. So you need to assess students through formative assessment and make sure they understand the problem. You could do formative assessments like exit slips, small quizzes at the end of class, or you could use the exit slip as a quiz. That way they know they're taking part of their learning and they know it's important, and to see what you need to adjust to for feedback. So active learning is super important for students to participate in, and it's something we all need to make sure we're continuing in the math classroom. Thank you.